Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Picture this. It's the fall of 1822, and 8 feet of snow has buried Cache Valley so deep that even the hardiest mountain men are facing death. Louis Visquez, a Hispanic trapper whose story you've probably never heard, makes a desperate decision that will change American history forever. He leads a small party across a treacherous mountain divide, searching for salvation in the unknown wilderness beyond. But here's the twist. Louis initially thinks he's found the Pacific Ocean. He's actually staring at the Great Salt Lake. This discovery, made by a man whose heritage traces back to Spanish Galicia, represents just one chapter in the most overlooked story of American expansion, the tale of Hispanic mountain men who blazed trails, built fortunes, and forged the cultural bridges that made westward expansion possible. Welcome to a story that's been hiding in plain sight for 2 centuries. While most Americans can name famous mountain men like Jim Bridger or Kit Carson, few have heard of the Visquez family dynasty, Manuel Lisa, or the dozens of Hispanic frontiersmen who were instrumental in opening the American West. For nearly 200 years, trappers had been pushing westward across North America. French trappers moved up the St. Lawrence River, English trappers followed similar routes, and Anglo-American trappers traced paths along the Appalachian Mountains until they reached the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. But then they hit a wall, the Great Plains. These vast grasslands stretched from the Mississippi River to New Mexico, creating an impenetrable barrier for decades. But here's what most history books won't tell you. It wasn't Anglo-American trappers who first crossed the Great Plains. In 1739, more than 60 years before Lewis and Clark's famous expedition, French trappers made the first documented crossing, reaching Santa Fe, New Mexico. Even more significantly, Spanish trappers from St. Louis had blazed crucial pathways across the Great Plains before Lewis and Clark ever began their celebrated journey. When Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821, everything changed. Almost immediately, vibrant commerce developed between Missouri and New Mexico. This marks the formal establishment of the Santa Fe Trail, that legendary 800-mile route connecting Missouri to New Mexico. But the Santa Fe Trail was the central hub of an incredibly sophisticated network. The Old Spanish Trail connected Santa Fe to California, providing access to Pacific Coast markets. The Camino Real linked frontier territories to Mexico City. The Santa Fe Chihuahua Trail operated from 1821 until the 1890s when railroads made wagon trains obsolete. Yet the real drama was happening in wilderness beyond these established routes, where mountain men were pushing into territories that existed only in indigenous memory and occasional Spanish colonial maps. This brings us to one of the most remarkable families in American frontier history, a family whose story encompasses 3 generations of Western exploration, yet remains virtually unknown to most Americans. The Visquez dynasty began with Benito Visquez, born in Galicia, Spain in 1750. In 1770, he arrived in St. Louis with Governor Pedro Piernas, becoming part of Spanish colonial administration. He established himself as farmer and trader, served as captain of militia, and in 1774 married Julie Papin, a French-Canadian woman. Together, they raised 12 children who grew up fully bicultural, speaking multiple languages, and understanding both Spanish colonial and French trading traditions. One of those 12 children was Pierre Louis Visquez, born in 1795. Growing up in frontier St. Louis during the transition from Spanish to American control, Louis absorbed knowledge and skills that would make him one of the most effective mountain men of his generation. By his early 20s, he had joined the Ashley Henry Company, becoming deeply involved in fur trade along the Missouri River system. But Louis Visquez was about to make a discovery that would place him at the center of one of American exploration's most intriguing controversies. Sometime after 1822, Louis Visquez achieved something that would define his legacy. According to a detailed interview published in the San Francisco Bulletin on October 29, 1858, Visquez claimed to be the discoverer of the Great Salt Lake. The story reads like an adventure novel. In fall 1822, he and trappers planned to winter in Cache Valley, attracted by its streams perfect for trapping. But winter became so severe that snow fell to 8 feet, creating life-threatening conditions. Faced with this crisis, Visquez led a reconnaissance party across a treacherous mountain divide, searching for salvation. What they found defied their understanding of Western geography. An enormous body of water they initially mistook for the Pacific Ocean. This mysterious valley was snow-free and filled with buffalo herds, exactly the winter sanctuary they needed. Visquez guided his entire party over the divide. The group split into winter camps, but Visquez wasn't satisfied with simply finding shelter. The following spring, he built a boat and systematically circumnavigated this mysterious water, determined to discover whether it connected to the Pacific Ocean. Through methodical exploration, he proved they had discovered a massive inland lake with no outlet, the Great Salt Lake. Historian Leroy Hoffman has challenged Visquez's discovery claim, crediting the discovery to other mountain men, or possibly Mormon settlers. Hafen suggests the lake might have been discovered much earlier by illegal traders from New Mexico who traded with Timpanogos Utes. This alternative theory raises intriguing possibilities. These hypothetical earlier discoverers were operating outside official channels, meaning their discovery would have gone unrecorded. Given the secretive nature of illegal trading operations, it's entirely possible the Great Salt Lake was known to Hispanic traders decades before any Anglo-American saw it. Regardless of who deserves credit, Visquez's detailed account reveals something crucial. Western exploration was far more systematic, scientific, and multicultural than popular mythology suggests. Louis Visquez became one of the most respected figures in the mountain man community, eventually forming a partnership with Jim Bridger. Together, they co-founded Fort Bridger in southwestern Wyoming, strategically located where multiple trail systems converged. What makes this partnership remarkable is how deeply it integrated their families across cultural lines. Hiram Visquez, Louis's son, became best friends with Felix Bridger, Jim's son. Years later, Hiram testified that, "We were raised together," providing evidence of family integration that went far beyond business cooperation. The Visquez-Bridger partnership was one of many associations of Hispanic trappers and traders with their Anglo-American counterparts. These cross-cultural partnerships weren't exceptions. They were essential elements of frontier survival and commercial success. The Visquez family represents just one example of a much larger phenomenon. Take Manuel Lisa, another Hispanic frontiersman who founded the Missouri Fur Company, creating one of the most important commercial enterprises in early Western fur trade. Or Antoine François Baronet Visquez, Louis's brother who served as interpreter for Zebulon Pike's 1806 expedition, using multilingual skills to bridge cultural gaps. These men possessed crucial advantages. They often spoke multiple languages, understood different cultural trading protocols, and possessed geographical knowledge inherited from Spanish colonial networks. Hispanic trappers frequently served as cultural mediators, translating not just languages but entire systems of understanding between Anglo-American, Native American, and Mexican communities. The frontier demanded cooperation for survival, and commercial success depended on building bridges between different cultural groups. The mountain men who thrived weren't rugged individualists operating in isolation. They were skilled diplomats, cultural translators, and network builders who understood that success required collaboration across ethnic boundaries. The legacy of Hispanic mountain men like the Visquez family challenges fundamental assumptions about American westward expansion. Their stories reveal that the winning of the West was never a simple tale of Anglo-American conquest over empty wilderness. Instead, it was a complex process of cultural exchange, economic cooperation, and knowledge sharing that drew on the skills and experiences of multiple ethnic communities. These men were pioneers in the truest sense, not because they conquered nature, but because they learned to work with it and with each other across cultural boundaries that seemed insurmountable. They built the relationships, established the routes, and created the commercial networks that made later waves of settlement possible. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.